Welcome back to the Citizens Defending Freedom podcast. Coming up today is how a book series depicting children in a classroom murdering their teacher was removed from Osceola County schools, how Texas Citizens Defending Freedom was instrumental in passing a law to prevent fraudulent election outcomes, and how concerned Christian patriots can respond to Pride Month. But first, check out the #1 song on iTunes, Target Boycott.
Yeah. Attention all shoppers. There's a cleanup on every aisle. Target is targeting your kids. They put a target on my back, but they're targeting your kids. They don't even need to ask, cause you all know what it is. Yeah, that's why I keep it strapped, and I'm always by my beds. This agenda gotta stop. Yeah, you know we gonna win when they target. Yeah, they targeting. Target. Yeah, they target kids. Target. Yeah, they targeting. Target. Yeah, they target. You know they targets that wrong. Trying to play with the kids. It's the mayor of Megaville. I'm preaching again. You know the LGBTQ done went too far. You know they cutting these kids. They leaving trannies with scars. Why they pushing?
That song is #1 on iTunes, but now I need you to head to our website, citizensdefendingfreedom.com, and hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out on any of our content. Citizens Defending Freedom is excited to announce Osceola County Schools will remove a violent, sexually graphic book series called Assassination Classroom from library districts wide after we challenged the book. Chris Fontenot, County Executive Director for Osceola County Citizens Defending Freedom, received an email from the Superintendent, Dr. Deborah Pace, saying that she has used her executive authority to pull the Assassination Classroom series from the shelves of every school in the county after Citizens Defending Freedom challenged the book's presence in Liberty High School. Last week, Citizens Defending Freedom reported that the school district's School Library Media Advisory Committee had acknowledged that the series contained violence, cruelty, brutality, and aberrant behavior that would make this material inappropriate for children, but said it would keep the book series in the Liberty High School library anyway. Pace said she consulted the school board's general counsel before making her executive decision and canceled any further meetings with the school district Educational Media Materials Review Committee, noting that they would no longer be necessary. Chris Fontenot is with us today. Chris, what was the process in getting this series removed?
First of all, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to talk about Assassination Classroom in Osceola County. The first step that we did is I sent an email to the school board and the superintendent on April 4th asking if Assassination Classroom was in our schools. I didn't receive a response, and the next day I was forwarded a response from somebody in the district that was stating that we did have the book in our schools, confirmed a few of the schools that it was in, and stated that after she had reviewed a couple of online reviews for the first 2 books, that she didn't feel that it violated any statute and the books were going to remain on the shelves. And that was an email that was forwarded from the media specialist supervisor in our county. On April 10th, so about 5 days later, I sent an email to the school board attorney asking if these books were in our schools and if he was aware of them. Still didn't receive a response. So the next time I spoke was April 11th, and that was at our school board meeting. And what I addressed primarily was the fact that there was no follow-up to the other emails that I had sent confirming whether or not these books were in our schools. It was confirmed at that meeting that the books had been pulled for review. So my concern was just the lack of follow-up from the district to confirm that they were taking action. So after that, I received a response because I did file some book challenges, 65 of them in total, through their formal review process. And on May 10th, I received an email back from Liberty High School from the media specialist stating that they deemed the books inappropriate for students and children, but were still making the decision to keep them on the shelves. I was really shocked by that, and so I filed the appeal process, which is part of the book challenge process. And on May 15th, we had issued a press release with the information from Liberty High School, media specialist, And I was interviewed by Fox 35 that day. And then I emailed a follow up on May 22nd from the other schools because I hadn't heard any responses from them. And that's when my superintendent emailed back and stated that she was using her executive authority to make the decision to remove the books from all schools in our district.
What is your opinion on the media advisory stating that there was violence, cruelty, brutality, but still allowing this book series in the libraries?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't really surprised because the books were allowed in the first place. However, that just goes to show how important it is for groups like Citizens Defending Freedom to be watchdogs over our schools and our library media content to help ensure that our children are safe and to provide that extra set of eyes. It's not about opinion. It's not about emotion. It's about statute and about ensuring that the books and the materials that our students and children have access to are in line with statute and are safe for students to consume.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you to your team for all their hard work in protecting children in your county. Next, Texas members of Citizens Defending Freedom are celebrating after their efforts led directly to the passage of a law that protects election integrity. After an intense pressure campaign from Citizens Defending Freedom, HB 5180 passed the Texas State Senate on May 24th. The bill ensures that cast vote records and digital images of all voted ballots are made available to the public shortly after election canvassing is finished, ensuring that citizens have access to voting records, which they can use to inspect for fraud. Citizens Defending Freedom Williamson County worked with members of the Texas legislature, particularly Rep. Terry Wilson, a Republican from District 20, to have their amendment added to the bill, proving that citizens can have a major impact in the legislative process if they speak out. Marcia is with us today. Congratulations on the recent success. What was the specific language that your team was pushing to include in this bill?
Well, HB 5180 was to allow the citizens to get records after an election, cast vote records, which we call CVR, ballot images, which is the image front and back of the ballot after it goes through the machine, and the physical ballot. The original language was written by a team of ours that is on our election integrity team, the Putnams. They wrote the original language, submitted it, requesting it to be for 30 days after the election to receive the information. Their ledge council reviewed and they moved it to 61 days, which is what we already have. And we want it sooner than that. And so they also bundled together the cast vote records, the ballot images, and the physical ballots lumped into one paragraph. So our team worked with our local legislature, state rep, Terry Wilson, and Terry got the bill submitted. We tried to make changes to that bill in the election committee hearing in the House side. Many agreed that it made sense to break out the cast vote records and the ballot images from the physical ballots so that we could get those sooner than later. Problem in Harris County, for example, is we weren't getting this information in some counties for 22 months. You have to preserve the ballots for 22 months. Well, by the time people could get that information and do research on the data, the 24 months had expired and they could no longer file any kind of lawsuit because it was already past the deadline to do so. So there was a lot of appetite across Texas to do this. So we worked with the Senate side once this bill got passed through the House, and worked with them to change the language and break up the cast vote records and the ballot images from the physical ballots. So now the current language and what got approved and what has been sent, completely approved and sent to the governor for signature, is the images of the voted ballots, and a county maintains images of that ballot and the cast vote records. We are able to get those within 15 days of an election or right after canvass. Some canvass within 7 days. So then there's plenty of time for the citizen to do an audit of an election, and it really does help with the transparency of an election, and it helps with election integrity. So it definitely is a win. Now, our state rep, Terry Wilson, worked with another state rep in our county, Busey, who is a a Democrat and Terry Wilson is a Republican, and they decided to co-author the bill together in the House. So this allowed the bill to go through the House very easy and seamlessly. And then we worked with the Senate to just break out those paragraphs so that we can get some of that data sooner than later.
Thank you, Marcia, and what great news. Now, Citizens Defending Freedom is calling for Christians to pray for the protection of the innocent minds of our children during Pride Month. We are encouraging Christians to use pride flags and symbols as a prompt for prayer instead of for a cause of outrage and anger. We are in a spiritual battle, and our greatest weapon is prayer. The silent majority is starting to be heard. Citizens are taking a stand, speaking up, and making a significant difference. Take a look at what happened when Anheuser-Busch recently featured a man who masquerades as a girl on Bud Light cans, or Target, which was recently caught selling homosexual coloring books and transsexual clothing for children. When citizens began voting with their wallets and supporting other brands and retailers, in 1 month, the market value for Anheuser-Busch has fallen $27 billion, and the market value for Target has collapsed nearly 20%. It's time for Christians and conservatives to shed their fear of being labeled as bigots or homophobes, a common tactic used to silence those who do not support gay pride because it's contrary to their faith. As we can imagine, most of you are feeling some frustration and wondering how we got here. Instead of trying to articulate things ourselves, we thought we'd share a message Matt Walsh recently made.
But there's another point too, and this is something that I want to say specifically to the trans activists who are now crying and panicking and hysterically ranting about imaginary genocides. I say they're doing that now. They didn't just start doing it now. They've been doing it all along. This is all they ever do. But I want you, if you're in that group, I want you to listen to this part very closely. Please always remember this. You started it. You started it. So I see you on social media and on the news and out marching the street, crying your crocodile tears and claiming that you're being set upon by fascist right-wingers who won't let you just live your lives in peace. What do we ever do to you, you cry? Why are you so angry at us? Well, let me answer that question. You see, the rest of us were living our lives. We were minding our own business when you came along and demanded that we abandon everything we know about fundamental physical reality for your sake. That's what you did. You claim the right to walk into whatever bathroom you want, whatever locker room, whatever sports team. Nobody else has ever had that right. Nobody else has ever had that right to just do whatever they want, go anywhere they want. But you wanted it. You came after our children, seeking to suck them into your suicide cult just to make yourselves feel better. You tried to restructure human society to make it affirming to you personally. You wanted to force the whole world to bend to your narcissism. You tried to put words in our mouths. You tried to control how we speak, even when you're not in the room. Your ego is so out of control that you even tried to take possession of parts of the English language, like you can own them as a pet. You waved that hideous, ridiculous flag in our face and wouldn't stop waving it. You demanded not just tolerance, but celebration. You did all of that. That was you. And now you cry victim because some of us have simply answered no?
Here with us today is Steve Maxwell, co-founder of Citizens Defending Freedom. Steve, what are your thoughts on what's taking place in American culture regarding Pride Month?
Well, this has been coming on for several years now. Really, for me, we have to go back to the founding of humanity itself. This really, to me, is just it's a battle between our will versus God's will. And for those that believe in our Creator and the guidelines that He has set up for us, that is a wonderful path to take, and it's created a lot of great things. A lot of organization, for example. Whenever you see God at work, you're going to find a lack of chaos. And when we pull away from those principles that we've learned, that we know as a society and even as individuals, what's going to happen then is chaos. It's going to eventually lead to death and destruction. And that's what we're seeing. So I want to encourage American citizens that stand firm. We're not asked to go out. We're asked to put on the full armor of God to stand firm to stand on the standards that we know are right. And the other side is they're vicious, and they don't like to be told what to do. And it goes back to the original sin in the Garden of Eden, where we decided we were going to go our own way. And when that happens, this is what's created. So I'm encouraged, because we are standing firm across America, from school boards to these corporations that are trying to take us down this path. We're standing up to it, and it's a very interesting moment in the history of not only the United States, but of humanity itself.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. Before we go, we want to leave you with an inspirational verse from the Bible. Matthew 11:28 says, "Then Jesus said, 'Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest.'" Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you join us for next week's episode. As you can see, Citizens Defending Freedom is doing important work. Help us today in our fight to protect children and push back against these radical ideologies. Please visit citizensdefendingfreedom.com, where you can learn more about our organization and generously contribute to our cause. Have a great day, and make sure to like us on social media and tell your friends about the great things we're doing. God bless.